All right, chapter 4, lesson 6 talks about constructing functions. So your job is going to be to analyze graphs, word problems, tables, and you are going to have to come up with the function. You lucky, lucky ducks. All right, so let's look at the first one. A shoe store offers free points when you sign up for the rewards card. Then for each pair of shoes purchased, you earn an additional number of points. The graph shows the total number earned for several pair of shoes. Find and interpret the rate of change into the initial value. So first of all, what I want to talk to you about, first of all, just review just a little bit. Whenever you're talking about the rate of change, remember that also, come on, see, also equates to the slope of a line. So the rate is the slope. So whenever you have y equals mx plus b, this is our slope-intercept form of a line, the rate always goes right here. That is the slope. All right? This b back here, that is the y-intercept. Hopefully you've got all this down in your notes, but it's worth writing down again. So the m is the rate, the slope, the rate of change. B is the y-intercept. Now, in this lesson, they also talk about that being the initial value, which just means the value of which it all started from. The value at which it all started from. So whenever they talk about the purchases and about the rewards card, they say find and interpret the rate of change in the initial value. So rate of change you could get just by using the slope formula. Remember y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you can take, it says 90 minus 60. That's our 2 points right here, our two y's, because this one is 260, 60, and this second point is 490. So they took 90 minus 60 over 4 minus 2. You get 15 over 1. That is the rate, because that is the slope. Rate and slope are the same thing. So the rate, 15 points per pair. That's the rate. Now, the initial value is our y-intercept. So they talk about extending this line down right here, which is fine. But how do you know if it's 30 or if it's 31 or if it's 29.5? It's kind of hard to tell just by extending a line like that. And some of your lines aren't very straight anyway. So sometimes you need a more algebraic way to do it. So the way I'm going to talk to you about it now will get the correct answer for all of the ones we do. All right, so once again, we have y equals mx plus b. Now, m, we just found out that is the slope or the rate, so that is 15. Now, surely out of this, we could get a y and an x, right? Let's just use this one out of one of our points. So the y would be 60, and the x would be 2. Now, the initial value, I told you, was the same thing as the y-intercept. So that is actually what we're looking for here. So using a little algebra, we can do 60 equals 15 times 2, which is 30, plus b. Subtract 30 from both sides. B is actually equal to 30. So that is the initial value. That is the initial value. Come on. Don't be crazy on me. Okay. So with that, I want you to try, got it, here, example A. I want you to try that. Pause it and try that, please. Okay, back with me. If we are going to find the rate of change in the initial value, again, that is just another way of saying what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. Right? Slope is the rate of change, and the y-intercept, I'm going to put IV just to save myself some time in writing that. So we can find slope by taking any two of these points, does not matter which two, and subtracting them. I personally would like to use the smaller numbers just because they're easier to use. So I'm just going to use these first two right here. So if I do y2, 18, minus y1, which is 15, over x2, which is 2, minus x1, which is 1. We get 3 over 1, which is just 3. So the rate is 3. So the rate is 3. The initial value, if we know the rate, we can use our slope-intercept form. The rate is 3. The x, again, I'm going to pick the smallest one I can deal with, which would be this one right here. The x is 1 plus b, and that should equal y, which is 15. So I've got 15 equals 3 plus b. Subtract 3 from both sides. B is 12. Now, what is 12? Well, that's the initial value. The initial value is 12. And I do believe that these are dollars because you're talking about subscriptions. So the rate is $3 per month, and the initial value is $12, which just means like that would be the yearly subscription fee. So you're going to pay $12 no matter how many months you're there. And then it's $3 per month after that. Okay. So that's basically what this lesson is. They give you some different problems to practice that. Come on. So, example 2. Joan has some photos in her photo album. Each week she plans to add 12 photos. That right there, hopefully, I want you to think about anytime you try to add 12 photos, when you try to add 12 photos, that's your rate. All right, she already has some there, and each week she plans on adding 12 photos, so 12 per week. So that means that the rate already, this thing's not writing very nicely tonight, rate is 12 because it's 12 per week. She had 120 photos after 8 weeks. So this right here, even though they don't give you a graph, that is your XY coordinates. That is your XY coordinates. Also a little bit to remember. Do you remember that X is our independent value? And our Y is our dependent, which just means independent. You can put anything in there you want. Y is going to result on what you pick for X. So 120 photos, that depends on how many weeks you do it. So 8 weeks, that is your X. So 8 weeks is your X, 120 is your Y. Find and interpret the rate of change in the initial value. So if I'm looking for this, I've got Y equals MX plus B. All right, so I've got my M is 12. My M is 12. And my X is 8. And my Y, 120. So she already has some there. How many did she already have? Well, you've got 120 equals 12 times 8 is 96 plus B. So if I subtract 96 from both sides, that would be a 424. So B is 24. So you're looking for the initial amount of photos is 24. Okay. With that being said, I want you to try, got it, pause it, and try that one for me, please. Talks about the zoo. Okay, just as in your last one, when they say that it is something per hour, something per month, that is your rate. So it tells you your rate right here, $2 per hour. That is your rate. The total cost of 5 hours is $13. So the rate, here's another way to look at it too. You know that the rate is always going to be multiplied by your X, right? By your independent value. So this rate of $2 is going to be multiplied by what? The number of hours. So that means that the number of hours is your X. That is your independent value. So when you talk about Y, which is 13, Y equals M, which is 2, times my X for 5 hours, plus B. Y equals mx plus b. Y equals m times x plus b. So 13 equals 10 plus b. My b is 3. So what does that mean? That's the initial charge. They're going to charge you $3 to rent the stroller plus $2 per hour for each one that you have it. Okay, so that's getting it all from word problems. They can also have you get the same thing for for charts. So the table shows how much money Ava saved. Assume the relationship between the two quantities is linear. Find and interpret the rate of change and the initial value. So again, they're asking you for the same thing over and over and over. So to find the rate, they're going to use any 2 points. It looks like they used this one and this one. Does not matter which two, but they did y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and you get that it's 20. All right, so once you know that the rate is 20, my y equals mx plus b. I know that my rate is 20, that's my m. My x and my y, I could use any one of these. Again, I like to use the smaller numbers just because they're easier to deal with. So my y is 110, my x is 3. So I have 110 equals 20 times 3 is 60. Plus b. If I subtract 60, I'm going to get 50 is b. So 50 is b. What does that mean? That means that she started saving with $50. That's how much she deposited at first. Maybe she got that for her birthday, whatever it happens to be. But that's her initial value. So the rate is $20 per month. And she started off with $50. Okay, so with that being said, I want to scroll down here and have you pause it and try this last one. All right, pause it and try C, please. Okay, one more time. Let's go through this. We know that we need y equals mx plus b. So we need to know the rate. We need to know the rate. So I'm going to take y2, 1060, minus y1. I'm just choosing to use the two smallest. Again, that's just my preference. Over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 5. So I've got 0.10 over 1. So my rate, 10 cents per message. 10 cents per message. And it says what is the initial value, because you know that if you have a texting package, you do have to pay, if it's not unlimited, you do have to pay an initial amount and then 10 cents per message, which I'm glad I have unlimited. So when we talk about this, the initial monthly cost, that's what you're looking for. So we need you to have y equals mx plus b. We know that the m is 0.10. I can choose any x and y that I want. Again, I'm choosing the smallest one. So 10.5 plus b. And I put that number in the wrong spot, so sorry about that. That's supposed to be my x goes over here. My x is my 5 plus b, and that will give me my 10, 50. So if I have 1050 equals 0.10 times 5, that would be 0.50. So 1050 equals 0.50 plus b, then my initial rate is $10. The initial rate, $10. I'm just going to subtract. So y equals mx plus b. Rate and slope are the same. Initial value and y-intercept are the same. So if you know your y equals mx plus b and you can determine which number is which value, this lesson should be no problem for you whatsoever. But if you run into some problems, as always, come see me. Good luck.